Oh my God, they're talking to me and I don't understand what their questions are. How am I going to answer their questions if I don't have enough English to do that? Don't fret, guys. That's what I'm here for today. I'm here to teach you some basic conversation skills when you first meet a person. Now, I'm not talking about the small talk as I've talked in my previous video. Small talk is for people you meet in elevators, bus stops, places like that, when you don't really know the person, they're just strangers. But in today's video, I'm going to be telling you how to answer questions from people who are trying to get to know you a little bit better. So here we go. What's your name? That is a common question that we hear people asking others when they're just getting to know each other. However, you're not always going to hear it being asked that way. A lot of the times, the person is just going to say, "My name is Joe. What's your name?" Okay, so the question that you hear in this situation is, "What's your name?" Now, even if you didn't know that question, you can look for some body language gestures. So for example, when Joe introduced himself to you, he said, "Hi, I'm Joe. What's your name?" Okay. For example, you know that Joe is a name. Hopefully you will know that it's a name. In that case, you kind of know what you are expected to answer, and you will reply, "Hi, my name is Kate. Nice to meet you." When you say nice to meet you, you're just being polite. You're never just going to say your name and stop the conversation there because it's going to get very awkward. But you can see more on that in my previous Introductions on Introductions video. Now here is the quick rule on stating your name. First of all, here in North America, we usually do not say the first and the last name when getting to know someone. We usually just say, "I'm Kate." I will not say my last name unless it is a more formal interview or the person has specifically told you their last name. But don't feel like you have to provide your last name because you certainly don't. A lot of people don't do it these days because of security issues. You don't feel comfortable giving your last name to a person you have just met. So in that case, it's acceptable to just say, "I'm Kate." Now, another common question that people will ask you is, "What do you do?" What do you do usually refers to what is your job? But in natural English, you're not going to say what is your job or where do you work. You can hear it sometimes, where do you work? But most of the time people will ask you, what do you do? What do you do refers to your actual career. So you're not going to say, "I do at the hospital." You're not going to mention the place right away. You're going to say, "I am a nurse. I am a teacher." You're going to use the two basic words, "I am," and the position that you do at work. So I am a scientist. Then you can provide the place where you work if you so choose to do. For example, I am a nurse at Mazie Hospital. I am a nurse at Mazie Hospital. I am a waitress at the Golden Inn. I am a waitress at the Golden Inn. This time you have provided the position of the work that you do, and you have also provided the place. Now, if you want to ask the question back, you would say, "What do you do?" And then wait for their response. Once the person replies and tells you the answer, a polite thing to do is make a quick comment on their place of work, or maybe even the job itself, or the position, or even the career choice. "Oh, you're a marine biologist? That is so interesting. Or you can even mention the place itself. Oh, you work at Mazie Hospital? I heard that is a very nice place. This way, you're giving the person some positive feedback, which leads to a more natural conversation, and the conversation will just flow much more naturally from there on. Another question that the person might ask you is, where are you from? Now, this question can mean many things. If they notice that your accent is very strong, they're probably asking you, what country are you from? In this case, you can say, I am from, and the name of your country. I am from Sudan. I am from China. In this case, it is a very simple answer. However, you're going to use article the if you come from a country which has a pluralized name, such as the United States, the United Kingdom, the US Virgin Islands even. So those are the only cases where you're going to use the article or the short word the in front of the name of the country you come from. In all other cases, there is no article in front of the name. So for example, I am from Uganda. But if it has a pluralized name, then you're going to say, I am from the United States. Or, I am from America, because in this case, it's just singular name, not plural. So let's practice again. I am from America. Or, I am from the United States. Now, if the person notices that your accent is not so heavy, maybe they're trying to ask you, where are you from within the country that we live in? So for example, I live in Canada, so they might ask you, what province are you from? Or, what city are you from? And sometimes even, what part of the city are you from? Now, depending on the context of your conversation, or even the strength of your accent, if the person hears that you don't have a strong accent and you speak English very well and very fluently, he might mean, where do you come from within this country? So for example, I live in Canada, so I can say the Eastern Coast or the Western Coast, or be more specific and name the province or even the state if you're from other countries. You can name, I am from British Columbia. I am from Ontario, for example. Sometimes, if the person already knows that you live in the city, they could ask you, where do you come from within the city? Where are you from? Or where do you live? I live in this part of the city. I live in the west of Toronto. Or I live in Birmingham, depending on where you live. So it could refer to the city, the province, part of the country, or even what country do you come from. You have to figure out what context the person is asking you from. So let's try this again. Where do you come from? Most of the time, this means what country are you from? You will say, I am from Canada. Or, where do you live? I live in the eastern part of Saskatchewan. Or even the city that you could be talking about. I come from northern, whatever city you come from. I come from northern Toronto. I live in northern Toronto. Or I live in southern Toronto. Or in the east side. If you want to use the most natural language, you will just say, oh, I live in the east side. You don't even have to state the name of the city because you both live in the same city. So therefore, you're just going to say, I live on the east side, or I live out in the east side. Now, why do we say out? This is more of a slang language, more natural language. but you don't have to say the word out. But it is more normal language to say, I live out in the west, or I live in the west of whatever city you live in. Now, they might also ask you, how old are you? If they're a man and you're a woman, I hope they don't ask you this, because he didn't learn his gentlemanly manners. You never ask a lady how old she is. But if you're a man and the other person is a man, or you're a woman and the other person is a woman, it is an acceptable question. How old are you? You're going to answer, I am 23 years old, for example. In natural English, you're not going to say the word old. You are going to skip the word old and just say the number. I am 23. I am 23. And then you're going to reply with a question. And how old are you? Or, in more natural English, what about you? What about you? Either way is grammatically correct, but what about you is more natural and makes the conversation flow in a more natural English manner. When getting to know someone, you kind of want to know about their personality. So a good way to know that is by asking them what their hobby is or what their hobbies are. Now you could ask the question, what is your hobby? Or what are some of your hobbies? It is grammatically correct, but in more natural English, you're just going to say, what do you do for fun? What do you do for fun? Or you can say, what do you do in your free time? What do you do in your free time? This usually means, what do you do after work? Or, what do you do to relax? What do you do to relax? The person will reply with their favorite hobby. For example, I love to paint. I love to play soccer. This is in the most natural English by saying, I love to, and then you're going to say what you do. I love to paint. I love to draw. I love to read. If you hear that the person likes doing something that you like doing, you can instantly form that connection, that bond, and you can reply, I love that too, or I love to read too. And then you continue on with the questions. What kinds of books do you like to read? Or just simply, what do you like to read? From there on, you're going to discover some more common interests that you guys have that you like doing for fun together, and you can even plan a future activity. For example, if the person says, I love playing soccer, you can say, me too! We should play together sometimes. We should play together sometime. This will lead to the other person probably saying, yeah, that sounds like fun. We should do that. From here on, you have bonded, you have created a connection, and from here on, you can start to get each other's information. Information such as a phone number, or most commonly, email, or maybe even in other places you can ask for a WhatsApp number, things like that. So you will ask, can I get your number? We don't even have to say phone number. We can just say, can I have your number? Or, what's your number? What's your number? I would like to call you and set up a date for our soccer game. The other person will reply, my number is, and then they will give you their phone number. In this case, you can text them or you can call them. And if you would like to even be more specific, you can tell them, I'll be calling you shortly. I'll be calling you shortly. Or, I'll be sending you a text. I'll be sending you a text to let you know when we can meet up. I'll be sending you a text to let you know when we can meet up or when we'll meet up. You can also just get the other person's email address if you don't want to get into phone numbers and more personal information, because even these days, a lot of people are busy and they don't like people calling them or texting them, so they would rather stick to email. So you can just ask, what's your email? What's your email? Or, these days with the social media, you can ask, are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook? The person will tell you, yes, I am. Here is my name. You can find me that way. Or, can I find you on Facebook? Can I find you on Facebook? And the person will provide their information to you. You have that option, which is more informal and doesn't scare the other person away if they're not into phone conversations with people that they have just met. Now, other questions you can ask people to get more personal information is, are you married? Are you seeing someone? Now be careful, because this can be taken as you being interested in that person. For example, you like them and you might want to date them. And in some cases, you're just curious and you want to know. So you can say, are you married? Or, do you have children? Do you have children? Now, if they mention that they have children, that could be another point of interest if you also have children. And that can introduce you to a whole new level of friendship, because now you're going to be friends and your children can also hang out and have friends too. So you can ask the person, how many children do you have? They will answer, and you can say, well, how old are they? And when the person responds, you can say, me too. My son is 5 years old too. Maybe we can get together one day and have a play date. Maybe we can have a play date, meaning that the children will get together to play, and you as the parents can sit on the sidelines and sip a nice hot coffee together. Or you can say, why don't we get together at, for example, McDonald's? Why don't we get together at McDonald's and let our kids play together? This way is another way that you can just introduce each other and each other's children, should I say, and it's not as formal. If the other person responds by saying, yes, we should do that, say, great, let's meet up on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Or you can say, I'm free on Friday at 5. I'm free on Friday at 5. How about you? How about you? If the other person agrees, then great. Your date is all set. Not the kind of date that is for dating, for relationships, but the date such as a play date. Now that's something you have to be careful with, because you might hear the other person sometimes say, great, it's a date. But it doesn't mean that they want to date you like a boyfriend and girlfriend. It just means that you have scheduled a date when to meet up. So be careful. Unless it's a really hot guy and you're kind of hoping that he is asking you on a date. Some other questions that you can ask the person is, what kind of movies do you like? What kind of movies do you like? What kind of books do you read? What is your favorite color? All of these are questions that will let you know the person on a deeper level, and the other person will get to know you as well. And the better the conversation goes, and the more you figure how many interests you have in common, the more likely that you will develop a friendship from here on. However, I do notice that a lot of my students at the college in my class are way too shy to even speak to another person, because they think they will make so many grammatical mistakes that the other person will not want to talk to them anymore. That is not true in most of the experiences that I've had. Most of my students tell me, you know what? I'm not even worried about my grammar. And they're completely correct. Don't worry about your grammar. The other person doesn't want to get to know your grammar. They want to get to know you as a person. They want to create a friendship. They don't care about your grammar as much as you think that they do. So please get over your shyness. Get out there. Go talk to people. And you will thank me one day, because hopefully you will gain a lot more new friendships and maybe even land that dream guy that you've been thinking of, or a dream girl that you've been thinking of, and it can lead to something much more permanent. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please click like and please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you in my next video.